What up? All right. I'm going to talk about my journey to complete acceptance of myself, regardless of my spouse or anyone else. This post took a long time for me to write. Like I just kind of kept feeling stuck. And I finally realized it's because I don't think I can say I'm like 100% here in all parts of my life. So anyway, just throwing that in there in the beginning. So like, what is self-love, self-awareness, self-care? Like this has become, I feel like become such a buzzword, this self-blah, self-this, that we kind of discount the importance of what it means and what it could be for us. And, we hear phrases like, how can you fill someone else's glass if yours isn't full? Like we hear that. I used to hear that and I'd be like, yeah, I get it intellectually, but I never really applied it to myself. And I've had those thoughts where I feel like putting myself first is selfish. And so I wouldn't put myself first and I wouldn't take care of myself. And then I think because of that, I didn't take the time to grow some like really important, like to grow and kind of like nourish some really important beliefs about who I am. And like who I am is in terms of lovability for just being me and for nothing else. So when the betrayal trauma came, it pierced me like really, really deep to my core. And I think it's because, well, first of all, the betrayal with someone that you trust, but then also I think I was borrowing beliefs about myself from external sources like friends, family, accomplishments, and then especially my spouse. So, when that, I might have, believed this, like I might have accepted this belief about myself that say it was like I'm beautiful because I like made a partly believed it or something, right? And then my husband would tell me that a lot, but then when that trust was gone, there was like a void, and then I didn't believe that about myself anymore, right? So that's why I think it's so important to develop these beliefs about yourself internally and not rely on any external sources to like confirm anything that has to do with your self-worth or your lovability, because that's just something that cannot change. So I needed to learn how to accept myself completely, and I needed to get there internally. And so to me, the ultimate self-acceptance is me accepting myself, like accepting my mind, my body, my spirit, my soul, like everything. And I'm going to kind of show you a progression that I have kind of been through with regard to like my body. So I wanted to include a sequence of thinking that I use to kind of get to where I am. Because it's not just this, like, you can't just go from I hate my body to I love my body. Because if you try to like switch from something like that, tell your brain two things that are like completely opposite, your brain kind of will just like shut down that new thought, be like, yeah, that's not true. We're going back to the old thought. And so what I needed to do was kind of ease myself into these new thoughts and kind of like neutralize the negative thoughts, the perceived negative thoughts, into more neutral ones, and then build them into more believable positive ones. So some examples, like, at this time I might have thought, and this is all specific to my body, like some examples might have been like, oh, I hate my body, or, oh, this isn't me, which caused that dissociation, which I've talked about, or, oh, how did I get here, right? So how do those thoughts serve me? They really didn't. Like they kind of just caused me to like disassociate from myself. And if you listen to my last video, I talk about like what that kind of did for me and how I disassociate from myself and then kind of just like reject who I am, and then like foster this belief that I'm not acceptable or lovable, right? So I wanted to shift from these unintentional thoughts to intentional thoughts to kind of neutralize that negative emotion. And so some of those, an example might be, like, hey, like my body has endured some serious stuff over the years, some really hard things, and I can see the physical effects on my body, right? And that might elicit a little bit of self-compassion, and something that's really easy to just kind of neutralize that a negative, emotion might just be like, I have a body, because that's completely believable. And my brain doesn't shut it down because it's not jumping from like I love my body to, or I hate my body to I love my body. Another one might just be like, my body is working properly. You know, it's doing its thing based on what I'm eating, not eating, sleeping, when I'm not sleeping. It's kind of like I'm not that surprised that I'm physically seeing the effects of not taking care of myself physically, right? So I just wanted to include some more intentional thoughts that evoke more positive, for me, evoked more of a positive emotion. So like one example could be like, my body has done some seriously amazing things. I have delivered 3 kids, got multiple degrees. I'm working right now. You know, I've done some races. I've climbed mountains. Like I've done a lot of really cool things. My body has been that vessel for me. It's amazing, right? My body is strong. I like that my body is strong. My body is an incredible physical artifice. I'm grateful for my body. I love my body. It's done some kick-ass things. I really love my body. And then I believe that I can get to a place where I fully and completely accept my body. And then I fully and completely accept my body. And that's kind of like where we can go with the shifting to kind of just gradually get to a place where we can truly believe something that we want. The only thing I want to emphasize is, you know, the goal isn't to just like thought swap, like, oh, here I am, a little bit better, boom, okay, a little bit better, boom, 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 boom. Like if we're having these like negative thoughts about ourselves, it's eliciting certain feelings that probably need to be processed. So it's not a matter of just moving on. We need to process and metabolize negative emotions appropriately to facilitate the understanding of how much those negative emotions are driving our results in life. And the empowering thing about this is once we can really feel, like get how that works, we realize that, well, our thoughts got us here and our thoughts are optional. So like what? I can change that. That's amazing. So this was a way that I eased myself from the earlier thoughts to just kind of slightly better, slightly better, slightly better. And then as I practiced those new thoughts, the new neural pathways that were being formed with my new thoughts gradually became stronger and more dominant than the old neural pathways. Like I said, I'm not like 100% there, but I'm closer than I have ever been in my entire life, and it feels amazing.